You're a grown man! He's a robot cat! Pull yourself together! Seriously.
Hi. I'm Bobby. I am a robot cat. I have once again time traveled back to the land of potato sacks. We have arrived at that one time Katie Joy was blocked by Jessa Seewald's mother-in-law for being a reaching, creepy, stalker. Let us have a look.
You aren't allowed to get into mommy's makeup without asking.
Can I wear this?
You are wearing it, but you have to ask.
Why do you always have to use footage of these children?
It's not every day that you get blocked by a Duggar.
Not for the clinically sane.
Well, it is in my world. No, actually, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I have been flat blocked. Like, it's been a while.
You appear a bit disheveled over this.
I presently am only blocked by a couple Duggars. The Duggar fam main account, and I got blocked on that in 2019 when I reported on the raid that they said didn't happen. And I asked them a question about it in comments, and then they blocked me. And then Anna Duggar, she blocked me like a long time ago when I asked her if Josh was running her Instagram account.
There you go with the children again.
So those are, and then I think Claire and Justin, oh my gosh, that's the weirdest, those are the weirdest two of all of them. So when Claire and Justin Duggar first got married and got together, they started blocking all the fan accounts. And I'm not even really a fan account.
Oh yes you are.
I'm more just like this, I'm like the critical account, I guess, or the tell it like it is, exposing the cult kind of thing. And
this was well before she began calling herself a reporter.
I got blocked by both of them. I got blocked today by Ben Seewald's mom.
Why are you stalking Ben Seewald's mom?
And it was kind of ironic because it was after I found a photo of that she had posted on her Instagram of Ivy. And I was like, oh, that's such a cute photo. What's going on here? And it was Ivy Jane, who just turned 2, by the way.
Let the reaching commence.
And she was sitting on a rocking chair, which happened to be on a blanket. And she was holding a baby, like a stuffy.
You are a psychopath.
And I'm like, well, that's weird.
You meddlesome ostrich from the pits of hell.
On a blanket. And then immediately my brain goes to blanket training, because obviously it's the Duggars.
At first, I just set them on their blankets with nothing to do but look at me and listen to my voice. They sat on their blankets while I sat on a chair within reach of them, telling them what good boys they were to stay on their blankets. If they tried to get off their blanket, I instantly corrected them. When 5 minutes were up, that first blanket time training session was over, and we folded up the blankets and went on with our day.
And I posted on Instagram, and literally within like a half an hour of making that post, I got blocked.
Perhaps because every time you see a blanket that is not being used to wipe human excrement off of someone's face, you immediately related to this.
I didn't comment on her post, but some of my biggest fans let her know that I posted, so that's how she must have found out. But
only you would be proud of this.
My post basically said this. Ivy Seewald sitting on a rocking chair on a blanket, quietly holding a stuffed animal. Sitting on a blanket while playing with a toy is how blanket training is done. Jessa Seewald has always been very careful not to show pictures like this. This was
perhaps to avoid absolute nutters, such as yourself.
I can't say for certain that Ivy was being blanket trained, only that the optics of this photo appear odd.
Stop it.
This is not the first time I've seen Ivy on a blanket and not move. So that was my post that I shared.
Perhaps she isn't moving because it's a photograph.
And
you
I
twit.
was like, what do you guys think? Is this blanket training? Is it not blanket training? And are they going to admit it regardless? Now, blanket training is a very controversial, horrible parenting decision where you have a baby on a blanket and you use a rod and tempt the baby off the blanket. And then when the baby moves, then you use the rod.
There is a blanket in the picture, Catherine. That is all it is. To associate the blanket, the child would be on the blanket, not sitting upon a rocking chair obstructing associated view of said blanket. Imbecile.
And Michelle has written about this in her book, Growing Up, or 20 Duggars and Counting, and she said it was like a game changer for her after she found out about it when her twins, Jeremiah and Jedediah, were like 14 or 15 months.
The boys learned to spread out their own blankets. Then they eagerly chose a special toy to play with. Gradually, I increased the duration of blanket time, praising them for sitting quietly and playing with their toy on the blanket and correcting them when they tried to get off. If they threw the toy off the blanket, they weren't allowed to get off the blanket to get it back.
Through the years, there's like legitimately been questions about like which girls might be using this technique.
You are reaching. You claim you want to see them do better, yet you constantly accuse them of the absolute worst.
And which ones might not be using this technique. So obviously your alarm bells go off when you see a photo of a 2-year-old with a blanket underneath a rocking chair.
Obstructing the view of the blanket.
Gwen, who is his mom, says that she was just quietly sitting on the rocking chair singing to her baby, and her daughter snapped the photo, and it was really super innocent.
Not everyone has such a sinister thought process as yourself.
But she blocked me immediately after I posted that, which I thought was like weird. Like, if you can't handle the criticism, like, why are you posting a photo like this?
Perhaps most grandmothers do not expect such a walking horror film of a wench to stalk their every move.
And you would have
you
to
nutter.
consider with everything that's going on, with everything that's been happening with Josh, she would be she would acknowledge that, you know, maybe you should be careful about what you're posting. And this is what she said. Note to all of you who are digging for a morsel of gossip. Ivy skipped over to this play area, climbed into the rocking chair, and was sweetly singing to her baby. Whatever to blanket training. This was a picture-perfect moment, so my daughter took the photo. Now,
this should be the end of it.
Photo, right?
But no. Leave it up to Adderall Lanny to make an entire video accusing the family yet again.
Studied child development ignorance. And then she said, trolls have nothing better to do than spread lies and twist the truth. Sad day we live in. So I think she's calling me a troll, but whatever. And when someone else made a comment, said, I do see all the comments coming in. I myself was just curious. Safety reasons, of course, of a page sharing a picture of someone's granddaughter. I mean, if someone took a picture of my kid without my permission, I'd be mad. And she said, thank you. This has been hilarious. People are really digging for gossip.
It is gossip, you haggard woman.
A new play area for the grands, and my little rug from Amazon has not arrived. Look what internet trolls contrive when I simply make an area cozy while waiting for a rug.
Grandma makes sense.
So she claims that she placed the blanket underneath the rocking chair because of waiting on a rug, which some of you guys in my comments were like, well, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Because of course, she wouldn't want to scratch the floor. Now, I've never put a rocking chair like on a blanket, so I would.
Catherine, you are the last woman in the world who should be giving any advice on home decor.
I wouldn't know how well that would work. I would think it would be maybe a little bit dangerous, but that's just me. But she did say that, like, no to blanket training. So no blanket training is happening here. That's not what's going on here. Everything is fine. Nothing to see here. So I was like, is this even something that Jessa would do? Well, I looked online. I found some comments of hers from 2018 where she alludes to it, but she doesn't actually say it. And she said this in a comment. We train for occupations, we train for jobs, we hire personal trainers for fitness, and we train and teach our kiddos in right behaviors in the hopes that they will grow up to be caring, thoughtful, and responsible adults. But I agree. Dogs are not humans. Thank you for making that distinction.
I have heard this preposterous rumor that some women actually mother their own children, as opposed to sitting in a dungeon talking a lot of. Never mind.
So when somebody pushed back on her and basically said, you know, like, you don't have to have the physical part of it involved, she didn't negate that. She didn't like denounce using physical force. Instead, she just said this. So she said, truth. As adults, we can leave our jobs if we don't like it, or we can fire our personal trainer if we'd rather sit on the couch and eat donuts. Ha. We feel so blessed to be entrusted with the lives and the care of these little precious ones. Our boys are well loved and sometimes a bit spoiled, but it's not good parenting to never tell your child no. We should definitely give reasons for why we ask them to do or not do certain things, i.e. don't play in the street because that's where cars drive and it's dangerous, or don't steal toys from your brother because that's not nice and you wouldn't want someone to do that to you too.
Literally nothing in that statement even slightly indicates she is physically harming her children.
Just sort of like, well, if you don't train your children, they're going to become spoiled and they're not going to know right from wrong. Which
some children actually go outside, Catherine.
That doesn't even make sense, because you can actually discipline your child without blanket training. You can discipline your child without training. You can not use any sort of physical anything. There's lots of ways that you can work with children without using a rod and going with biblical discipline. When she has not actually made a
Catherine, she did not say she is doing these things.
Confirmational statement that she either yes does or no doesn't, and she probably won't because it's such a controversial topic. And then you see Ivy on a rocking chair, on a blanket, your interest is like, okay, is this what I'm seeing? Mother-in-law says no, we don't have a rug, this is it, blah, blah, blah. If they were, would they even admit it? I don't think so. Does it mean that she was? I don't know.
Stark raving mad. Absolute nut job.
Is the photo weird? Sure. Is it hard in this day and age right now to really trust anything that the Duggars say? Yes. Did Ben grow up in the IBLP? No, but blanket training is not exclusive to the IBLP at all.
You made an entire video accusing these people of something I do not believe that they have done.
Know.
Hypocrite.
A lot of people ask me constantly, like, which one of the girls use it, and I don't know. I can't tell you, but I do know that Michelle openly spoke about it in her book and wrote about it in her book, where she talked about how it was this thing that they all did, that all the kids went through it, and that her older daughters had helped her as the kids got older and as she learned how to do this, and that it made the kids like learn how to sit still and everything. And training is a huge buzzword in the world of the IBLP, and training is a big word by Michael Pearl. So when you start seeing people talk about training, you're just automatically like, your ears perk up and you're like, oh my gosh, are the kids okay?
I do not believe this is why your ears perk up at all.
So anytime this kind of stuff happens, I address it, I share it, and that's up to you to decide. I hope to God nothing's going on here. Ivy has another sibling coming soon. Jessa spent her second birthday preparing her daughter to learn how to be a mother. She got her daughter a stroller for her babies, clothes for her babies. She's like really getting her into babies, which...
What is wrong with you? It's a little girl human.
Little girls love babies, but in the IBLP, I hate that little girls love babies, because you just know what they're like. Their job in life is to be a mom and make babies. So it's like you're almost just like grooming the child to become a baby factory. I digress. In the middle of all of that, a very old comment of one of Josh's showed up, and someone I think on Reddit found this. I can't say for certain. I think
all of your content is from Reddit.
Posted a photo of him and Jessa, and Josh Duggar wrote, "I'm watching you." And that's so creepy. Like, can you imagine Josh Duggar just like...
Perhaps it's when they started dating and he was pretending to be a good brother.
So gross.
How is this content?
So, do you think that blanket training is a thing in this house? Do you think that it's difficult to discern between who is and who isn't? Does it concern you when you see a photo like that, knowing what blanket training is? And do you worry, like I do, about the kids in this group and sort of what has been passed down from their parents?
If you were truly concerned, you wouldn't handle it by monetizing every time they take a shite.
Because this is a practice Michelle still uses, from everything I've been told, and this is something that Michelle has advocated for. It's something that we've seen her kids, Jessa's, sit on blankets and not move, and then you see this photo and it's like that gut punch, and you're like, am I just seeing this? Is it just me?
Yes.
Or am I just making this up?
Yes.
Again, Grandma says nothing to see here. What are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below.
I think you are an impossible daft troll who gets your rocks off on these reaching conspiracies. Cheers.